Is the law of compensation as simple as you think it is? No, it's not. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire. And once again, I invite you to join Eli and me as we discuss one of the universal laws, the law of compensation. You know, Eli, I did a little research. I was asked by one of our subscribers to go over the 12 different laws of 12 different universal laws, and today we're going to talk about the universal law of compensation. One of the things that I found, I did a little research. I looked at one of the most recognized pundits. This man has appeared in the movie The Secret, and I'm not going to mention him by name, Bob Proctor, excuse me. And I watched his video on the universal laws, on the law of compensation. And frankly, he got it all wrong. And I'm going to tell you what he said, and I'm going to tell you why, and then I'm going to tell you what the law of compensation really is. All right? Well, I watched the video, and the law of compensation, according to this pundit, is very simple. Sow and ye shall reap. Okay, that part's correct. Okay, we first heard that in the Bible. So as you sow, so shall you reap. And he described it this way. He said there's 3 ways that you receive compensation. One is if the skill that you possess, that what it is that you do is needed. Second, how well you do it. And third, how easily it is to replace you. Based upon those 3 aspects, that's how you get compensated. Well, duh! No kidding, all right? I mean, that's not a tremendous revelation as far as I'm concerned. The more you can do, I mean, if you're a computer expert and you can do more than somebody else, then they're going to pay you more money. However, this is not a law of the universe. This is a law of capitalism. What do I mean by that? Well, before there was even money, what was the story? I mean, how were you compensated? It doesn't make any sense, because a universal law is a law that always works no matter what. In a communist country, you don't necessarily get paid much more if you possess much more skills. It depends on where you are. It's not a universal law. It's not a law of nature. Gravity is a law of nature. The law of vibration is a law of nature. The law of attraction is a law of nature. How you get paid is not a law of nature. So my point here is, even when you're listening to the success pundits that know everything, even people that have been well compensated themselves, that make a fortune standing in front of you, you've got to question the questioner. Don't just accept what they say, myself included. Do a little research, do a little thinking. It doesn't make sense to me, because a universal law is a law of nature. The way you get paid is not a law of nature. So let's get that out of the way. Now let's talk about what is the universal law of compensation. The universal law of compensation is, once again, as you sow, so shall you reap. If you plant an apple seed, you're going to get an apple tree. You're not going to get a tomato plant. That's number 1. Secondly, we as human beings are the only creatures that have the capability of changing our habits. Simple. The difficulty arises when we continuously use these same habits and they produce a negative result. You must examine your habits to determine if they're leading you to the position that you want to achieve. Now, we already know that 95% are unsuccessful, 5% are successful. The 5%ers have some very good habits or they wouldn't be successful. Here's the point. You have to take a look and make a decision that I'm going to change my habits. If you're overweight, You've got to say to yourself, I'm going to stop working on my hand-to-mouth coordination. All right, that's excellent. I've got very good hand-to-mouth coordination. I've never eaten anything by accident. I've always done so consciously. You can also stop doing it consciously as well. That's the point. Change your habits and make your habits productive habits. That's the key point. All right, that's the what. What's the how? The how, very simply, is to consciously change your habits repetitiously. Repetition means retention, which means success in whatever it is, whatever goal you are pursuing. So, if repetitiously you stop eating fatty foods and you exercise and you do that repetitiously over and over and over and over again, take a wild guess what's going to happen to your weight. You're going to lose a few pounds. So what are the habits that successful people have that we want to encourage? Eli, if you want to be a good basketball player, a good shooter, take a zillion shots. Keep shooting. Get a rhythm. Keep shooting. If you want to be a productive thinker, keep thinking. Practice thinking. Set aside time for thinking. Repetitiously put it on your calendar. I'm going to spend these next 10 minutes thinking. That's the key. Now, what are some of the roadblocks that prevent us from achieving this? Very simply, we are all, as human beings, systems people. We get into a rhythm of doing things. We wake up, maybe you go to your social media, maybe you turn on the radio or the TV, or think about your habits. Think about your daily habits. Think about what you do every single day. Are those habits bringing you to the place that you want to be? Are they making you the person that you want to become? When you look in the mirror, is that the person that you want to see? If it isn't, then you need to start making adjustments. The issue is, the difficulty is that once we develop a system, we get into a comfort zone. Let me illustrate that point. A lot of times at the workplace, the boss will say, "Hey Joe, I need you to do this." Joe will say, "That's not in my job description. That's not in my routine. That's not what I do every day. That's above my pay grade." I mean, there's all sorts of different ways of making the same statement, but you get the point. People fight moving out of their comfort zones. They fight it. So what do you have to do? Well, if you want to change your habits, you have to direct yourself, train yourself to get out of your comfort zone. How do you do that? It's very simple. Make small changes and make it a habit. And not only will you get more comfortable being uncomfortable, doing something. If you do something repetitiously, you become comfortable at it, you become better at it, but you will also make advances as a person, and you will see that when you make changes, the circumstances around you will change. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. One example goes back to the days when I was in sales and we had to knock on doors. Trust me, when you get out of your car, or when you wake up in the morning, you don't say to yourself, "Oh boy, I get to knock on doors today. I get to knock on doors," where the person on the other side of the door is going to say, "I don't want any. What do you want? Can I help you?" These are not things that you wake up every morning dreaming about. However, once you force yourself to go to the first door, and the second door, and the third door, it becomes easier and easier and easier. Not only that, but you become better at it. And it's no longer a roadblock that you feel like you have to overcome. It's just something that you do. Let me give you a different example. When you go into work in the morning, or when you go into work in the morning, do you smile at people and say, "Good morning"? When you do, you're going to change the situation around you. Most people that come into work, they walk in, all right, another day, here I am, another day at work, same old, same old. And the people that they meet, that they cross paths with, have exactly the same attitude. Am I right on that? Try this. When you see somebody every day, walk up and say, "Good morning," and smile with your eyes. And when you do that, the circumstances will change. They won't just walk past you. What they'll say is, "Good morning." Well, you'll say, "Hey, how you doing?" They'll say, "I'm doing okay. How are you doing?" If you don't say anything, if you don't change your mannerisms, if you don't change your habits, what's going to happen? You're going to get the same old, same old, same old. You can't have that. The law of compensation is the habits that you possess determine what kind of outcomes you are going to receive. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to repetitiously and consciously, and remember, humans are the only species that can consciously, by will, change their habits. Animals don't do that unless you really train a dog or something like that and train them, but on their own, they will not change their habits. The point is, as a human being, take advantage of the skills that the infinite mind, that the Creator has given us and enabled us to move forward. When you change your habits, the unproductive habits, and start acquiring and implementing the productive habits, you will find that your compensation will change dramatically. Compensation is not just measured in moolah. Compensation is measured in the responses that you get from the people that you work with, from your spouse, from your children, from society at large. When you have productive habits, you will be compensated more productively. It's as simple as that. And it's a universal law, because you will find that when you do that every time, and it doesn't matter whether you're in a capitalist system, a dictatorship, a communist system, your compensation will grow. That's what makes it a universal law. That's nature's way of moving us forward. And the key thing about universal laws is, once you understand how they work, once you understand that the law of vibration, that you send out vibrations, once you understand that to receive vibrations from the universe, you have to be, it's more productive to be in a relaxed state. Once you understand how these laws work, once you understand the law of attraction, that like attracts like, once you understand these things, it gives you certainty in your life, that you know if you do A, you're going to get results B. Once again, it's a system. However, are you taking advantage and employing what you know? So, step 1, examine your habits. Step 2, get rid of the ones that aren't productive. Step 3, find a mentor that does what you want to do. What habits do they employ? What mindset do they have? And assimilate to that mindset. Become that person. Take a look at their habits. That's what makes a person, is their habits. You are your habits, then your habits become you. Number 4, recognize that the difficulty is getting out of your comfort zone. How do you get out of your comfort zone? By practicing. You practice. You do little things that are different, and then you're able to increase, just the same way as if you're working to get in shape. The first day that you exercise, you're not going to lose 10 pounds. But if you continuously do it, you can lose the weight, and you'll find that your capacity to work out becomes greater and greater and greater and greater. Same thing is true with getting out of your comfort zone. You must embrace making changes to be comfortable making changes. And this is what will enable you to develop new habits. And when you develop new habits, what's the key? Repetition. Doing them over and over and over and over. And that will make you more comfortable, and it will make you more skillful in whatever habit you embrace. And because we will never end a meeting on a philosophical note, let's get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.